Welcome to my first ever MTGO league. I chose Merfolk. I've been focusing on Merfolk for a while. It's a deck I've wanted to learn for a long time. I just got back into Magic maybe a couple months ago. Just got into MTGO even more recently, and Merfolk kind of felt like a natural fit. Merfolk is at its core a tempo deck, so we're playing our cards at the correct moment to have the biggest impact on the pace of the game. One example of this is disrupting our opponent's plan while executing our own game plan. I think Merfolk Trickster is an excellent example of this, as we play a 2/2 bear, but we play it with flash, and we play it in such a way that we are disrupting their plan. Like if they want to attack with a Death Shadow or something like that, all of a sudden they lose all of the tempo that they built up on the previous turn by losing an entire attack, while we play a 2/2 bear that also gains the benefits of Island Walk and whatnot when our lords come into play. Similarly, with disrupting our opponent's game plan, we also want to pay fewer mana for a bigger impact. Dismember is an excellent example of this, or Force of Negation, where we're paying 1 and some life for Dismember, or just a card for Force of Negation to have a large impact, a large disrupting impact upon our opponent. So tempo decks, you typically want to get the lead and hold it via interaction, or find the appropriate time to flip the tempo on board and then hold it. Merfolk, of course, can finish very explosively with multiple lords and Island Walk, which is always an appealing part of the game, to be able to close it out quickly. So you can see the deck that I'm running over at the right-hand side of the screen. There's nothing really surprising about this list. I do run 2 main board Deprive. I think the green-blue version of this deck is built to be very aggressive and explosive, while the mono blue is more interactive and doesn't need that explosive start with a bunch of 1-drops. So running a couple of main deck Deprives really came in helpful for me. I noticed when my initial experimentation with this deck how often I was sideboarding in Deprives. It felt like almost every game, so I decided to just stick them in the main board. 3 Dismember, 3 Force of Negation seems to be what I think a lot of people are agreeing on right now. Both extremely important cards, but ones that you often don't want to draw multiples of, and you don't want to go too low on threats. You also see a split between Brazen Borrower and Vendilion Click. Truth be told, I only own 2 Vendilion Click on MTGO, and they are prohibitively expensive. And I'm also not convinced that they're necessarily better than Click. So having the split is pretty good. Vendilion Click can go a long way towards playing a good threat and disrupting the opponent all at the same time. So pretty happy with that card as well. Although I do tend to sideboard it out more frequently than other cards, it seems. Sideboard, again, I think is pretty standard. I do run a Castle Vantress because there are occasions like versus Jund and versus other very heavy single removal decks that I sideboard out Aether Vials. So I want to have 1 land to put back in there. Vantress strikes me as an appropriate card for these types of matchups where we go to potentially into a top deck mode. So Vantress will allow us to scry all of our good cards to the top as we enter that time of the game. Relic and Grafdigger's Cage are fairly self-explanatory. Ashiok is a house against Titan, so we love that. Disputes, I recently replaced Deprives with these 2 Disputes. I don't like playing against blue decks very much. Teferi scares me, so having a 1-mana answer to a Teferi, as well as other Wurza style decks, is very appealing. That 4th Dismember can come into play against a lot of different decks. Kira is another one to shore up the removal deck matchup, like Jund or whatever. Strikes me as an excellent card for 2-for-1ing every single one of their removals. And then Chalice of the Void is a house against a lot of decks, so we want to keep those in there as well. So onto this match, you can see that this is a Jund pile, in my opinion, running some suboptimal cards. It turns out that there is some shadows in this deck, but you'll see that this card, Dreadhorde Arcanist or whatever, I had to check out what this was. 1/3, 2 mana, 1/3 trample, where they attack, they can cast a spell, sorcery, or instant from their graveyard. I don't know, seems kind of suboptimal, seems very slow, not super Jund appropriate. Additionally, they don't seem to be running any discard spells, which is good for us, not great for the Jund player. So the deck, or the match, kind of plays out as expected, I'd say. So I'll let you get on watching the game, and thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye. think we just go for it. Fortunately, they could push our Mutavault or our Lord. So they're gonna be they're gonna go down pretty low if they choose to cast that Dismember again. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of gas left. We've seen 6 lands and 13 cards, so a little bit higher than normal. Not too bad. Ah, but our Borrower is ready to jump into the action. Just have to hope they don't have too many. Okay. I'm fine with them. Oh, they're probably playing black for that. Huh. So that means that they're not playing Dismember again, which I guess makes sense. But that's fine. That's questionable, I think. Not affecting the board. Spending their lone black source to not affect the board is not necessarily recommended. No, not that they need a black source to play this card. Examining the deck. It's fair. No, they do need a black source to cast this or they die. Definitely want to draw a card next turn though, for sure. That's fine. Can hit me for 1. Okay. So I like Biomancer here because I can adapt him. I need to be able to play this card, right? So I want to. This is 3 here. Okay, so I can do both. No, I can't. Put them at 1 though. It's okay. And I can adapt my Biomancer at the end of their turn, so that's actually okay. Cool. Cool, GG. So, Jund. So, Arcanist Jund. I want Great Glass Spinner. Vile was pretty great up against them, but it does lead to concerns against Jund. So I typically board them out because they run Dismember and Fatal Push, although I only saw... What a weird deck. I think I'm gonna pretend like they also run Fatal Push. As well as Dismember and Lightning Bolt. I mean, they were really cut off on black sources, so... Dismember, ooh. Yeah, I like these guys. I want you to... What don't I need? Force Negation is strong, but in this kind of grindy matchup, it's not always worth the card disadvantage. Ben's good. All my Merfolk are good. C's are good. Deprive is good. Dismember's good. Click is always my go-to cut for this deck, even though they perform Well, I think in this kind of matchup, they tend to just get removed, so it tends to be a little bit of a tempo loss, and it just doesn't do as much as the other cards, or it's just not as versatile as some of the other cards. So we got Vantress for the Vials, we got Kira because of the because of all of the removal from Jund. We want to make them that worse. Let's go for it. And then we've got Graveyard Hate. Monkey Ang. Avatar reference? Not super Avatar savvy. It's a good show, from what I've seen of it, but I haven't done a deep dive. Still no Thoughtseize. I am getting lucky. Goif? Okay, Goif's okay. So that makes him a 2/2, which forces 2 damage onto him. But why? I mean, I don't want to. I'm not here to push a little bit of extra damage at this point. I would much rather get my Mutavault unsick, so to speak, as well as play the Spreading Seas on that source. They can't be happy with the 3 Spreading Seas they've seen in this number of games. And now I just passed turn. I'm not attacking into the Goif. Love to see a Dismember next turn. Want to make sure I play my Adept before my Master of Waves. They are not hurting for their land drops, though. Sure. I hope you attack with both. Doubt you will. Okay, you can take the 2 damage. Death Shadow. Okay. Starting to make a little more sense now. Okay. So okay, Dismember's a great draw. So I think I Dismember the Death Shadow and I play the Adept. Or I hold up Deprive. Okay, so I'm definitely playing an island. Dismembering the Death Shadow. Do I hold up Deprive or do I play Adept, I guess is the question. What am I worried about them playing next turn? I think... So if I play Adept, that means following turn I can swing for 5, 8. Without a Deprive up, though. I'll draw another mana. Okay, so I think I want Adept here because plan will be next turn, hopefully draw a land in one of my next 2 things, and then I can swing in for 8 with my Biomancer, Adept, and Mutavault holding up. No, that's not going to work. Don't have enough mana to activate that too, but still think this is the plan. Second Dismember is good. Got good defense. Sure, I'll take the 1 damage. Guess it makes his shadow a little better, but I do have this and this in case he's got a second one. In case our opponent has a second one. Nope. Okay, so what do I want to do this turn and next turn? So I cannot hold up Deprive. What can I do this turn? I can bounce the Arcanist so that they can't get a double. I can bounce the Arcanist so they can't get a double, and I can swing in for a good amount, and then I can Trickster their Death Shadow next turn. So I think that's going to be the line. I'm not going to think about it too much, which might be a bad move, but you know, hey. We're making YouTube content. Let's not think about our lines too hard. The line is bounce this, play the Master. There might be some put them down to 5. They might push this, which is okay. If it's not your turn, you may exile. Okay, destroy all creatures that enter the battlefield. Okay, that's a little scary. That's okay. What did they exile? Exiles Force of Despair with Force of Despair's ability. Okay, so got a card advantage off of that. Put them down to 5. I am not paying as much attention to my life total as I probably should be. I think a Bolt loses this, which is a scary possibility. No, Bolt does not. Oh, Bobble triggers prowess. Yuck. I don't think they have a Bolt. Based on them using Force of Despair last turn. Crap, Dismember is off the table now. Alright, so what is good here? I can swing for 5. Trickster that. Block that. Lose to Bolt again. No, still not lose to Bolt. Cannot keep up to Deprive. I need to save this for Goyf and block that. This isn't going to do me any good. Kira's not going to do me any good this late in the game. A little risky. But they need 2 direct damage spells or a haste creature and a direct damage spell to win. So based on what they've been playing so far, I think we're okay. Why would they play that on their turn? Okay. I'm not sure. How did? Oh god, if they had a bolt there, that would. Okay. They might have something up their sleeve here. Okay, that's okay. Unless they have a direct damage spell. Oh, now is what I do. This. Because now. Oh no, I have to type down Goif. Oops, mistake. That's okay. Okay. Oh, whew. Okay. I thought they had a bolt, but they didn't. That's why I thought they destroyed that C so that they could bolt out. But we won against Jund. I don't think that pilot was super experienced. Um, I could be wrong though. I thought they had made some misplays because of where they had cracked their lands during their turn instead of during my turn, but it was Shadow. So, interesting take on the deck. Their little Arcanist or whatever that 1/3 trample cast a spell from your graveyard didn't seem to do anything for them. So yeah. GG.